Hello there, and welcome back to Sylvia's Essentials. Makeup tips for the blind and more, actually. I thought I would come up here today and do a cooking video. I wanted to share a recipe that's simple, delicious, and use the top of the stove. With the days warming up now, spring right around the corner, where I'm at, it's already starting to warm up. You know, you don't want to turn on the oven all the time. So this is a top of the stove recipe that I'm going to use here in my skillet. So I hope you're all doing good out there. Hope it's been a good first of the year so far for you out there. So what I'm going to be doing today is a cabbage recipe with using teriyaki sauce and a little bit of seasoning. Okay, so let's get started. And hope you enjoy this video, and I hope you get something out of this video if you're visually impaired or blind. Hoping that I'm helping you in the kitchen or to feel a little more comfortable in the kitchen. And remember, when you try different dishes, you just have to keep practicing over and over and over again, and it will get easier and you will get more confident in the kitchen. All right? But even I'm still learning. I don't know everything in the kitchen, but I'm at that confident level, you know, more so than I used to be. So, and remember, please give my video a like out there, a thumbs up. It helps the algorithm made here on YouTube, which is very important. All right, like I said, it's good to be back. And I'm going to try to make a note here of trying to come back a little more often. I just want to let you know that I have been busy with school, and it's just taken a lot of my time with studying and different things like that. But I definitely would love to be able to come up here more and do a makeup video as well. So stay tuned for that, and make sure your notification bell is on so you'll know when I'm up here posting a video, okay? So with all that being said, like I said, I'm doing a cabbage teriyaki recipe here. So if you go over here, the side of my kitchen, saw a little bit of my apartment here. Okay, I have the cabbage here in this bowl. I had rinsed it already. I also cut this cabbage back into smaller pieces. So when I place this cabbage in my skillet, it'll be able to cook down more evenly. So what we're going to do is we're going to cook this down, okay? And then we're going to add the other stuff to it. Now, the thing is, this is going to be a no meat recipe, but what's wonderful about this cooked cabbage is that this makes a wonderful side dish with chicken, ham, pork chops, you know, different meats like that. And you can also eat it by itself, of course, a day where if you don't want to eat any meat. Okay, so I don't know if I'm going to use all this cabbage. The thing is that I did use a small cabbage, but this is a lot for one small cabbage. It was the smallest one I could actually find at the store, you know, where I got it. So, okay. So, and I'm also doing some redecorating in my place, mostly in the front room. But yeah, I've been working on trying to get my place looking a little more, I guess you could say, prettier. I am doing what you would call a nature look, not a jungle look, a nature look, or I guess you could say I could call it the meadow. If you know what a meadow is, or someone described to you what a meadow is, you know, it's lots of flowers, some butterflies, some ladybugs, bumblebees, you know, stuff like that. Running water, streams, So I did get myself a little waterfall. You might hear it in the background, a little waterfall fountain. But yeah, it's very peaceful. So, okay. So what I'm going to do first, I got a spoon here. Hands been cleaned and washed before I started this video. I'm going to start out with using a tablespoon of minced garlic. All right. So that's the first thing you want to do. So I'm going to squeeze this in a tube. I should grab a paper towel to wipe my finger. But I'm feeling, as I'm pouring it in to my spoon, I got what you would call like a little plastic soup spoon. You can actually get these at your deli in your grocery store that sells the hot meals and stuff like that. I love these because they're a little deep, like a soup spoon, you know. And I can actually feel like stuff that I'm using for like a tablespoon, because these come in tablespoon sizes. I can feel that it's going inside the spoon, okay, for 1 tablespoon, without it leaking if it's more flatter surface tablespoon. I love these. So I try to keep these on hand. All right, so I'm going to put that in my pan first. Let me get the lid back on this. Hold on. And this keeps a while in the refrigerator too. Actually, if you store it correctly, it can last about a year. Minced garlic. But then again, it might last longer than that. Okay, I'm gonna put this in the sink. Matter of fact, I'm gonna take this cabbage out of the sink because it's done draining. Because I always, hold on. I don't want to talk over the running water. What I was saying is that you always want to rinse your cabbage thoroughly. Always, because you don't know what's in your cabbage. You don't know different growers. Might have some bugs in it, maybe not have any bugs in it, that sort of thing, which is natural. If it's actually, like a farmer's market, you're going to get little bugs in your produce from time to time, which is a good thing, actually. You don't want all those pesticides and stuff. But if it's from your general grocery store, due to the pesticides and stuff like that, it's always just good to rinse your cabbage and lettuce thoroughly before you use it. Okay, so we got the minced garlic in there, so I'm going to turn this on high to get this going so we can start. So what we want to do is we want to brown this garlic, and it's going to help with the flavor of the recipe. And I apologize for any noise outside my window there. I do live near intersections, so, there's going to be vehicles going by. Hope you can hear. Hope you can, hold on, see. I don't know if that was a motorcycle or some car, I don't know. But anyways, hope you can hear my fountain because that's peaceful. Okay. Okay, so I have my stove on high. Right here I have my teriyaki sauce, which I'm going to add. You could also add a little Worcestershire sauce to this too, if you wanted to. It just helps with the flavor. Doesn't hurt to do that. But the main ingredient for this is the teriyaki sauce. So I'm going to start stirring this around now. I'm going to turn my heat to medium-high. I'm just going to stir this around in the pan, medium-high heat. I'm using a fork, or you can use a spoon, just to get this around the pan. And what this is doing, it's gonna brown. It's gonna brown. Okay, and then after we do that, I'm gonna come over here, grab my cabbage. And this is green cabbage, by the way, if any of you out there are curious, because there is red cabbage too. And I'm gonna start laying this in here. And remember, there's water in your cabbage from rinsing. And even if you didn't rinse your cabbage is a lot like iceberg lettuce. It has water already in it. And I'm being very careful around this hot pan. And you need to use a big skillet, by the way. Forgot to mention that, big skillet. So if you have a big skillet, that's great. If you don't, you might want to think about purchasing one. You can go on Walmart website. They always have wonderful dishes and appliances and different things like that marked down. Amazon too, but I know Walmart. Does. I didn't get this pan here from Walmart. I've actually had this pan for a while. I don't remember where I got it, to be honest with you. I've had it for a while. I don't remember. I don't think it's from Walmart, but anyways. Oops, I just dropped some on the floor. I'm not picking those up and using those. Not that my floor is like dirty or anything like that. I did have my homemaker lady come this week, but I always mop a second time. I just do, just to make sure the floor is sterile. Okay, now I might not be able to fit all this in here. Okay, now this is going to cook down, and whatever I don't use, I will save to put a little bit in a salad. I put a little bit of green cabbage in my tacos, if I make tacos, replacement of lettuce. Or I'll just boil whatever I have left down for another meal. Okay, I think that's good. Remember, this is going to shrink down, so. Okay, it's going to shrink down. All right, so I'm going to put the rest of it here in the sink for now. And I'll have to put it in a bag later. Pieces that are on the floor, I'll throw those away. It was only maybe one piece, I think. Okay, and what I'm doing, I'm at the top of my cabbage, and I'm just making sure that it's stacking on top of each other so it doesn't fall over. And now I'm going to take my fork here. Hold on a second. I'm just quickly feeling around, making sure there's nothing on the burner. Okay. And I'm just going to push it down a little bit while it's cooking down. Like I said, this has to cook down. So what I'm going to do now is put this on a medium heat. Because the reason why is that it's cooking now. You know what I mean? It's hot. It's cooking. Okay. And once this starts to cook down, and it is cooking down, it's gradual because I did use a lot. It might seem like a lot, but it's really not. Because cabbage, like I said, it cooks down. And I use this much because I want to have enough for leftovers. We're going to let this cook down. Now, if you have a skillet with a cover, if you can cover this amount where it's a little over the rim, you could like put a pan cover over it. You know those pans that have the clear lids that has the hole in the top of it where the heat can escape through it? I'm talking about those lids. Because you want the heat to escape. Okay? I'm not using that. Like I said, I don't mind just using aluminum foil to cover my pans. But if you have a pan that has a lid to it, then you can also, like I said, cover this while it's cooking down. Okay? And you can hear the sound of it. You can hear the sound of it cooking down. I'm just taking my fork and I'm like going around the edges and just kind of like pushing it in, kind of flipping it. So the cabbage in the middle, I guess you could say, cooks a little better. I know it seems like a lot of cabbage that I use, but it's really not, because if you know anything about cabbage out there, it shrinks down, even when you boil it. Oh, I'm starting to smell the cabbage. It smells delicious. Like I said, I have it on medium heat while I'm doing this. You don't need to turn your heat back up to high or anything like that. Just keep it on a medium heat and just let this cook. So you're gonna start to feel it cook down. And then, like I said, the pieces that were on the top, you want to like work your way, getting those pieces to the bottom so they can cook down. It's a little bit of elbow grease doing this, you know, constant mixing with your fork, metal fork, not plastic fork, metal fork. I use a plastic spoon to measure the minced garlic, but to cook, you always use, you know, your metal spoon or fork. Okay. All right. Still working it. Just go around your pan from the edge in. Move it from the edge in the middle, all around your pan. Flip it, turn it over. You can feel turning it over. Like I said, us blind, visually impaired people, we have a good sense of feel. We do. Just use your senses. Your smell, your feel, your hearing, of course. Okay, it's almost there. I can feel it cooking down even more. Okay. It's getting there. But this sort of thing, you have to keep stirring it because you have layers on top of each other. And you just want to make sure it cooks down. And like I said, you got your water. It's the water that it produces and the water when you rinse it off to help cook this. And then, of course, you got the minced garlic. That's giving it flavor. So you don't necessarily have to add any garlic powder. You still could if you wanted to, but you don't have to with the minced garlic, you know. But you still could add garlic powder if you wanted to. Okay. I would just use just a little bit of garlic seasoning, not that much. Okay, it's getting there. I know this seems like it might be a lot of work, but it's not. It's actually kind of fun. If you think about it, it's kind of fun. It is. You can make it fun. It doesn't have to be looked upon as a chore. And one thing I could say when I say that this could be fun is because this is a healthy dish. Okay, it is. Yeah, there's the soy sauce, which is a little salty. Yeah, I agree with that. But cabbage is healthy. So you're still getting, you know, you're still getting health-wise from the cabbage. And you could do this dish with red cabbage too, just to let you know, if you prefer red cabbage. Okay. Now, if you're low vision out there or sighted, if you join my channel, welcome. I appreciate you joining my channel. You can see how it's cooked down. The cabbage is cooking down. It's just practically, basically, all cooked down now. I mean, it's still firm, but it's cooked down into my skillet here. It's like voila. It's like magic. Trying not to make so much noise with my fork. Still flipping it. Sorry about that if it's a little noise with my fork. I'm trying to focus on not making so much noise with my fork on camera. Okay, now since this is pretty much level in my pan, now I can move on and add some of the other stuff I want to add. And what I have here, like I said, once it starts to cook down level of your pan, you can feel it, you know. I have some onions here. I'm using white onion. I diced some up. So maybe, you could say maybe a quarter of an onion. So I'm now going to sprinkle this in here because I want some onion flavor. I think I dropped one on the stove. Yeah, I did. Get that in there. So now I'm gonna mix this onion in here. They're like the ringlet onions that I chop. They're not small chop. They're ringlets that I cut up. So some of that. I'm mixing this into the cabbage. Same thing, going around the edges of the pan, mixing the onions in there. You don't have to use onions in this recipe. I just love onions. I love the way it makes my food taste in a lot of different meals I do. And plus, onions are good for you. And that was one thing I said that I was going to focus on this year 2026 year of the horse, is start focusing on my health a little bit more. Try to get more greens in, salads in, more fruits. Because we only got one body and we want to take care of it. And still, of course, to keep the 2 bottles of water in each day. Unless you can drink more, but at least two 16-ounce bottles a day. Okay, so now I got my onion in here. Next thing I'm going to add now is some black pepper. We don't need to add any salt because there's already salt in the soy sauce. But I'm going to add some black pepper. And that's really basically it for seasoning. Seasoning is just a little black pepper. Because we're going to get our salt from the soy sauce. Or if you want to put a little bit of Worcestershire sauce in here as well. I'm just mixing everything in there, so I got the black pepper in there. Okay, now I'm going to go back, get my spoon that I use for the minced garlic, so I can measure. Careful, I got my knife in here. Okay, I'm going to go back now and I'm going to use this actually, I believe this is store brand soy sauce, which is just as good. Okay, I'm going to feel again with my finger in the bottom of the plastic deep spoon, and I'm going to do 3 of these. Or you could do just 2. You know what? I think I'm going to do just 2. Because believe it or not, a little bit of soy sauce goes a long ways. So I'm going to use 2 of those. And if you come to find out after trying this dish that you would like more soy sauce, then next time use more. You know, we learn as we go. Okay? We learn as we go how we might want something to taste or not taste or whatever. Hold on a second. I'm looking for my paper towel to wipe my finger off. Okay. Okay, I'm going to stir this up again. Since we got the soy sauce in there now. Got the onions in there. We got the flavor of the minced garlic. And while it's continually cooking, it's going to continue to shrink down some more. So I'm going to mix this up. And you know what? I think I'm going to add just a little bit of Worcestershire sauce. I'm going to go in my refrigerator here. Okay, hold on. And I'm just going to add a little bit of soy sauce. I mean, not soy, Worcestershire sauce. And I'm just going to hear. Well, no, my hands are clean, so I'm just going to feel with my clean finger how much I'm pouring in. Just want to pour about just a little bit. You don't need that much. I poured maybe a tablespoon. That might have been a tablespoon amount that I had poured in there. You don't need that much. Because like I said, the stuff, like your soy sauce has salt. Let me put my soy sauce to dip. Well, I got my fridge open. I love this new refrigerator, by the way. I think I mentioned to you about this fridge on one of my videos. It's a energy saver refrigerator. Okay. I'm going to mix all this together. One more time. We got the Worcestershire sauce in there. The soy sauce. which is actually like the main flavor of this dish. But it goes great with cabbage. Like the soy and the Worcestershire sauce goes good with cabbage. If you see my hand, if you can see, it's because I'm checking just to make sure nothing fell up, and I'm really quick. But it takes practice, okay, around a skillet. I don't advise anybody learning how to cook to put your hand around a skillet like I did. It's just I'm really quick with it, and I just wanted to make sure nothing fell over on the side. Okay, so we're mixing this up together. And there we go. You can even hear the different sound now. It's not sizzling like it was before. And the reason why is because it's cooked down. Now, the last part of this I wanted to share with you is now it depends on how you want your cabbage. If you want it a little firmer, more on the firmer side still, then you don't want this to boil down where it gets too soft, because it's just going to keep boiling down until it gets softer and softer, almost to like the point of mush. But I don't want mine to get that. Now, maybe some people might want their cabbage cooked down that much, you know, especially if you need something softer to eat. This is a good dish for that, okay? So, but yeah, you want to check this after, because I'm going to cover this now. You want to check this after, I would say, I would give it a couple of minutes after you cover it. And check it with a fork and see if it's the consistency that you want. And if it is, it's done. So I'm going to get some aluminum foil here. Hold on, I got to find my aluminum foil. I know I have bought some new aluminum foil and I'm trying to find it. I don't know if this is the new one. No, this is actually an older one, but I'm going to use it. And I'm going to cover this for a couple of minutes. Actually, I still didn't make it big enough, wide enough to cover this. This is a big skillet. Let me, do I have any? You know what? I got a piece right here that I saved. Because I don't throw my aluminum foil away if it doesn't have like food stains on it or something like that. Or if I'm using it to cover certain dishes that aren't messy. I just keep them and just reuse them. Because you know, like anything else, aluminum foil is not getting any cheaper. So if you can reuse it, reuse them. Okay, now it's covered. And then I'm going to, like I said, wait a couple of minutes, let this cook down, maybe a few minutes. And what I'm going to do, since it's pretty much cooked down now, is I'm going to actually turn now my dial to simmer. So actually let it simmer for the remain until it's the texture that you want. Okay, because you don't want it to cook too fast either at the end. And it smells delicious. Now another thing I want to mention about this dish is if you have any ham, not lunch meat ham, but you know, an actual ham left over, you can cut that up into cubes and throw this in here as well when you throw in your onions. Okay, you know, or when you get ready to put in your sauces, like the soy sauce or the Worcestershire sauce, throw in some ham, you know, and it'll cook in with this as well. Just wanted to throw that in if you do want meat in this, okay? But this makes a wonderful side dish, which I had mentioned earlier. So anyways, that's it for this video. Cooking cabbage with soy sauce, top of the stove recipe, which is delicious. I've had this before, and it's really delicious. And like I said, just stack your cabbage on top and just let it cook down, and then start stirring it from the outside in until it starts cooking down, okay? So I hope you enjoyed this video. Hope you got something out of it. Please try this dish. It is delicious. All right? And I will see you soon out there. Thanks for joining me. Please press that like button. It helps my channel. All right? Take care. See you on the next one. From my kitchen to yours. Bye.